Summer vacations were something me and my two younger brothers always look forward to. So that year, we went to our grandparents' house, taking some time off from the chaotic city life. We spent our days playing and feasting on treats our grandparents showered us with. One evening, my grandparents and my entire family took a trip to a nature park, whereas I stayed back home catching a cold from eating too many ice cones. My mom told me to rest and warm the soup for dinner that she left in the fridge. I was watching TV lying on the living room couch when lightning cracked in the distance. I looked out and noticed dark clouds spreading over the sky slowly. It started to drizzle and wind howled in agony. It was dark as night outside. The trees that were towered over the house moved like crazy. The power suddenly went out as I swam around the darkness trying to find the torch. My dad called. He said he'd be late as a huge tree fell on the road, blocking their way home. So they were staying over for the time being at a friend's until help arrived and cleared the road. I was never a big fan of the darkness, and suddenly I was alone and waiting in the dark. The house was pretty big, with 2 stories and a large area of land outside. I couldn't find a flashlight, so I went to the kitchen and found some candles. I was lighting one up when I heard footsteps in our front garden. I tiptoed to a big window and peeked outside. The rain was pouring heavily by then, so it took some time for my eyes to adjust the vision. A flashlight was moving outside our house. I could see a silhouette of a man every time the lightning struck. He seemed to know the place well and darted straight to the kitchen door at the back of the house. Who the hell is this guy? Is he a thief? My heart started pounding on my chest. For the next 5 seconds, I heard nothing but the storm, but then a deep voice called out my grandma's name. "Oh, Janie, are you alone?" The frack? His voice gave me goosebumps. Our doors had huge grills and bar locks, so it was quite impossible to come in, but I was certainly creeped out. He called out again. "Janie, where are you?" I remained silent. By this time, I recognized his voice. He was my grandparents' neighbor next door. I saw him staring at our house the first day I came here. He sang religious songs with a mic quite early in the morning, irking everyone, and sometimes just stood outside with a blank expression while we were outside playing. He always eyed my grandmother and on certain occasions even barged into our garden to make small talk with her. The guy had gray hair with a wide smile. He would just stare at Grandma even when our family members were around. Dad said he lost his wife a few days ago. The realization that he had decided to go after my grandma made me nauseous. He started going in each of the windows, calling out my grandma's name. He couldn't see inside, and I stayed still. My grandma usually drove a small car, and seeing that car parked on the driveway, he must have assumed she was alone at home while everyone else left. Time went by, and he grew tired. After a torturous 15 minutes that felt like an eternity, I heard the footsteps walk away and jump down one of the walls. I sighed in relief, knowing he finally gave up. An hour later, my family came back, and I welcomed them with this horrifying tale. My parents decided to confront the guy in the morning, but they had no idea what was about to happen that night. That night, I slept on the small sofa near my grandparents' bed. I was burning with a high fever. Instead of sleep, I was in a trance-like state. I tossed around with body aches, trying to find a comfortable position, when I heard shuffling of feet somewhere. I heard a soft clinking noise like someone was tapping on the glass window. My eyes slowly drifted to the direction of that voice, and I saw him again. The old creep was back. He'd glued his grinning face on the window, which was just a few inches away from my grandparents' bed. I tried to scream, but I was so sick and scared that no sound came out of my mouth. So far, he was staring at my grandparents' bed, but just when he noticed me, his expression changed. His eyes widened, jaw tightened in anger, and he put his finger on his mouth while angrily mouthing me to be quiet or else he would kill me. I don't know how long we had this staring showdown, but suddenly he turned his anger into a sudden smile. He tilted his head to the left and continued watching my grandma through that window. I wanted to slap myself so I could wake my body up from this numbness, but fear and shock kept me frozen for quite some time. But finally, I gathered the courage and knocked down the small bookshelf beside my bed. The sound woke up my grandma, and she found me gasping and panting while pointing at the window. She switched on the lights to find the creep laughing shamelessly and telling my grandma how beautiful she looked when she slept from the window. "Oh, Janie, my beautiful Janie." He kept repeating this phrase again and again. He said that now that his wife was dead, he was finally ready for my grandma. My dad called the cops, and they took him away. The guy died a few months later, but to this day, a doubt clusters my mind. Did the passing of that old creep's healthy, cheerful wife have some mystery in it?